Hey everyone, welcome to the next episode of the Evangelical Norm, and I, again, as always, am your host, Norm. Tonight, I want to talk a little bit about some false teachers, false prophets. We went off on date setters the other day, so came across a thing on a friend of mine's Facebook page the other day that's just ridiculous. But this is what some of these false teachers are doing, especially with our current president Trump. There's so many people that are just trying to make out that this guy is like the new Messiah in their eyes, almost, and they would not, every one of them to a person would deny that. But the way they treat him, the way they excuse his poor behavior, his poor judgment, his seemingly insane antics, uh, and excuse everything that he does. They're cult followers. They are members of the Trump cult, and it just it's worse and worse. Earlier this year, there was came out about a guy who supposedly had a prophecy about Trump becoming president back in 2011. And of course, he didn't make this public to anybody until Trump got elected this time around. And then, of course, now this man is a great prophet and, sharing his prophecies. God told him that Trump was going to be president, is going to be this great president. Hasn't really shown that so far, but all right. And the main thing that I want to talk about, the really ridiculous thing, is I'm sure most of you have seen recently our president tweeted something about, uh, despite bad negative press, Covfefe. Um, and obviously it was a typo. He left it up for a few hours, then finally deleted it. But then everybody went crazy trying to figure out what Covfefe meant. And somebody was saying it meant something in Arabic. But here, some self proclaimed amateur historian and Bible scholar went and digging and found that it is actually an antediluvian term, which means in the end we win. So this lady, Diane Marshall, decided that she's going to go find out what this word means. And conveniently, it's a word that hasn't been used since pre flood days. Um, and the Tower of Babel, some dead Adamic language that she she apparently is privy to that no one else is, and found this, and so making out that Donald Trump is either this genius that nobody can tell, or they keep saying that the Holy Spirit is working through him. Here are some truths about Donald Trump's presidency. God is sovereign. So, yes, Trump is the person that God intended to be in the Oval Office, and we know that because he is. But it doesn't mean that God has chosen this man and he's some new King David or Daniel or any of the other great rulers in the Old Testament. Um, this man, I firmly believe that Donald Trump is judgment on this nation. He's not going to do anything better than Obama did. He's barely done anything that he promised people he was going to do. He's proven to be a liar, which he used Lion Ted to turn everybody against Ted Cruz, who I still firmly believe would have made a great president. But that aside, he continues to lie. History will tell, and I hope he does well. I hope he turns things around, and I hope that he actually lives up to the promises that he's made. But at this point, he hasn't, and yet we have all these people, Christian leaders who at one point in time I respected, who are following this man blindly and excusing everything that he did. When you get a guy that can convince Jerry Falwell Jr. to pose with his wife and Donald Trump in Trump's office with a Playboy cover featuring Donald Trump on the cover over his shoulder. I mean, that's ridiculous. That is the epitome of 1 Corinthians 15:33. The bad character corrupts good morals. This guy got Dr. Robert Jeffress and Sarah Huckabee Sanders to go on national television and actually utter the words that Planned Parenthood does great things. This is what this man has done to people. He has turned people into such cult followers that they'll destroy their own integrity to follow after this man. And I don't know this Diane Mitchell or anything. I don't know if she had any integrity to begin with, but to pull out some garbage like this and to claim that this is a word, the man made a typo. He can make mistakes. He's human. Let's just let it go rather than trying to come up with some grand divine excuse of why he really didn't make a mistake and that God is speaking through him. No, no, just stop. When you come across these people, run. These are false teachers. They're false prophets. This is garbage. This is not anything that is true. Covfefe is not the antediluvian Adamic language any more than Pale Ale in the Mormon temple ceremony is Adamic language. It's all false. It's all phony, and you've got to run from these people. If Donald Trump was such a man of distinction, he wouldn't have chosen a heretic like Paula White to be his spiritual advisor. He's not a man of great discernment. He's barely a man of great intelligence. I mean, he's a smart guy. He made billions. And he lost billions. And he made billions again. So he's not stupid. But he has the mentality of a junior high school kid. A junior high school bully. With the tweets that he makes and the things that he says and does. You know, all the people who feigned this outrage at Kathy Griffin, what she did was disturbing and wrong, and she apologized, and rightly so. But all these people who are outraged at that are the same people who just excused Donald's actual admission to sexual assault. The man admitted to a crime. He admitted to sexual assault, but they dismissed that as locker room talk. And they show outrage at what Kathy Griffin did, and you should have been outraged at both. But if you're going to excuse one, you can't be outraged at the other. And it goes both ways. But again, that's off topic. I didn't mean to go completely political here. But these people who are claiming to be Christians, but are impugning their own integrity to try to dismiss the things that Donald Trump does. And this was a pointless thing to do. It was a simple mistake, a simple typo. Maybe it was 3 o'clock in the morning and he was falling asleep as he was tweeting, which I would wish that he would sleep a little bit more. But this was a typo. This was a simple typo that should have been dismissed. But people are impugning their integrity, trying to claim that this is Adamic language and it's speaking in tongues or tweeting in tongues. It's not. And this is not an interpretation. I guarantee you this is going to turn out to be false. This is going to turn out to be as much garbage as the 2011 prophecy. They're false teachers. They're false prophets. And when you come across them, run. Just run from these people. Find teachers that are based in sound biblical teachings and doctrine. Don't let these people who are just moved by the wind of whatever it is in the political atmosphere and whatever they're caught up in, that let them move in these directions, these date setters and blood mooners and false teachers like this. Run from those people. Look to the Bible, look to the Word, look to strong biblical teachers, but stay away from these people. This is false. This is bad news, and it's garbage, and it demeans the witness of Christian people. It makes us look like what Bill Maher represented in his show Religulous, and what other atheists think about us. These people make Christians look bad. Run from these people. Seek truth in the Bible and in strong biblical teachings and biblical strong theologically founded churches, not in these places. That's my encouragement for today. Take it as you will. Just a little rant on some craziness that's floating around out there. And so until next time, always preach the gospel, use words, they're necessary. Soli Deo Gloria.